What's good, fam? It's your boy Dway's on Place. You know the name, you know the face, you know the time, you know the place. And today we're back again, brand new react, guys. How Jack Harlow lost his entire audience, guys. Remember, there was a time Jack Harlow was on top. They were saying he's the next Drizzy Drake. Okay, I don't know what happened. I don't know what went wrong, but let's get into it today. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let's go.
Jack Harlow, a very interesting rapper. This white man who had a good run.
White
for a
man.
period of time, that man was dropping hits back to back. It was like you couldn't get away from him. But in the last few years, the talk around his name been basically non-existent. And the last time we heard a bit talk around his name, it wasn't for something good. It was because he dropped this album that was supposed to be the biggest moment in his career that came out to mid-reception. People listened to this album and threw it away. See, like I said, Jack Harlow, somebody came to the game years ago, half a decade ago at this point. 2020, he would really start to blow up, but that ain't necessarily when the man started making music. His journey with music started way before that. 2017, he was dropping music, building his career. And then 2018 would come around. He would make a decision that was going to bring some problems later on. He would sign a deal. He signed a deal with DJ Drama and Don Cannon's Generation Now label. And after this deal, he would keep dropping music. I mean, he feeding the fans. You know, he trying to grow him a little career.
I would say that's a smart move. When you sign with a label that has one popping artist and nobody else really, a lot of the times you become the other focus. You know, there's not too many other people to focus on. They're like, oh, okay, because their Uzi was hot. Now they're like, okay, Jack's on board. Now we got to get Jack hot. They're not worried about anyone else. Uzi already doing his thing. So I think that is a smart move to do. And signing to a DJ is actually sauce, bro. It is actually sauce. Unless it's DJ Khaled, then you can forget, bro.
Similar with Jack, you know, like when I first met Jack, and you know, I felt his, you know, his ambition, like, you know, his to be one of the ones. I remember even from the label.
Actually, I take that back. Now I'm thinking of all the DJs, DJ Vaporisa, DJ Spoo, DJ Khaled. They all have allegations of taking royalties. So no, actually, I take that back, bro. To a DJ.
They were like, white rapper. And I'm like, look, it's not 2001.
Right.
Like,
we've seen this before.
We've had plenty of examples of successful white rappers since Eminem and exist in the culture. You know what I mean? And, you know, Jack was dope. Like, obviously, you know, you see his skin color and it's a big factor, but, you know, the kid made incredible music, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, lyrically he was dope and personality wise, he was just like, he was never trying to be something he wasn't, you know what I mean? Like, comfortable in his own skin within, you know, in the culture, within hip hop, you know, and I love that about him. So it's like, too. You know, years later, like watching the videos come out when he was a kid, rapping, and Kendrick complimenting it and Drake complimenting it, it just kind of shows how long he's been at it.
Welcome to Bull Rush,
Scabbery,
the ultimate arena where trading becomes an exhilarating.
And that was until some problems came up. He got into it with an artist that we know too well, Lil Uzi Vert. Jack Harlow and Uzi, they will have some beef that all started with Jack Harlow's decision of signing with Don Cannon and DJ Drama. If you remember back during this 2018-2019 era, Uzi was facing the most problems with his regular label. I mean, there was a time where anytime you get on Instagram, you look at the blogs, you get on YouTube, you see Uzi complaining about his label. You see Uzi dissing his label, dissing Don Cannon. For a long time, Uzi was going to war with these people. Uzi was basically saying they not letting me drop my album. They holding my music for hostage. It was a whole convo around this. Remember the whole Free Uzi song back in 2019? This came out right around the time that they was pushing Jack Harlow. An article by Complex from around this time wrote this on the situation. Nav just dropped this Bad Habits project on Friday, but it didn't have a Uzi feature like the Toronto rapper originally hoped. He claimed that Generation Now, DJ Drama, and Don Cannon were responsible for blocking Uzi's appearance. With all the holdups Uzi done experienced in the past months, Drama clarified in the wake of Nav's comments that him and Cannon are not blocking the release of Uzi's next album. And so at this time, we had Uzi trying to say that Drama and Don Cannon wasn't letting him drop his music, but at the same time, these people was coming out saying Uzi had full control of when he wanted to drop. Uzi could put out that album whenever he want to. They not blocking his music, and that was a big part of Uzi's career. So
but I feel like artists also do this to get out of their contract. Like, they cause these fake fusses in order for somebody to buy them out of their contract and for them to have more percentage on the next deal. You know what I mean? I think that's a lot of the time what artists do, so that when they drop their project that's highly anticipated or whatever, it's not because the label don't want to drop it. It's because he wants to make a higher percentage off that album. He wants to make more off that album. So therefore, he wants somebody to buy him out of his contract, Rock Nation, of course. And then now he's getting a bigger bag, and he doesn't have to pay those royalties for this new project to Don Cannon and them. You know, I mean, DJ Drama and Don Cannon, or whoever runs Generation now. Yeah.
Had this drama with Uzi, and Uzi would get online dissing his label every chance he got. And around this time, you know, Jack Harlow with Don Cannon, he with DJ Drama. He would post a pic of him and DJ Drama and said, "Just sign my soul away. Double tap if you can't wait for eternal tape."
Look how dirty he used to look.
Uzi would repost a picture of Jack Harlow with a clown emoji on his face. So Uzi, Jack Harlow, they going back and forth. Jack Harlow comes out 2020, drops his smash hit. What's popping? With a Uzi diss on it. He would say, "Little boy's trying to diss on the gram, I can't switch on the fam." And a lot of people was like, "Oh, he talking about Uzi. Uzi dissing DJ Drama, Uzi dissing Don Cannon, but he not gonna switch up on him."
Yeah. Do you feel like, oh yeah, this is the one thing we had to ask about. How do you feel about Uzi putting a clown emoji over your face on Instagram?
As soon as I saw it, I got butterflies in my stomach.
Why, just because he was acknowledging you?
Well, I just couldn't believe it. I was just shocked. I didn't think he would acknowledge me.
Right.
Yeah.
And why was he pissed? Was it just because you're signed to Drama and he's having his issues?
I think it's because I aligned myself with Drama during the situation. I posted a photo with my arm around Drama, and I said, "Double tap if you can't wait for eternal to take."
Yeah. What made you do that, though? You just feel like you had to sort of have that sense of solidarity with the team?
Yeah, partly that, and part of it was there was a genuine side to it in that, one, I wanted to show I'm with Drama. There was a lot of shit being talked about Drama.
And he's not really responding. And meanwhile, like, the person talking about him is like a mega famous superstar rapper. So it's kind of a weird thing where he doesn't seem like he's super interested in being all that public with his side of the story, or
For sure.
he'll
And-
only put it out little bits.
And I was feeling especially close with Drama because all this went down the day after that dinner I told you about.
Oh, okay.
So we were vibing at the time, you know what I mean? So I just wanted to
Pause,
align myself
pause.
with me being an Uzi fan. I didn't think it was gonna be taken how it was taken, but that's how it went.
Right.
And now Uzi don't like me.
You never heard anything else after that, or?
Never.
No. Yeah, he probably don't care that much.
Ain't been nothing since.
Do you know more about the situation with Uzi and Drama and shit than the average person reading the news? And does Drama get a bad rap in this whole thing?
I don't want to speak on it, but I know a lot more than most people.
Smart kid. Jack Harlow was always a smart kid, man. Shout out to young Jackman.
But even past that Uzi beef, 2020 was a great year for this man. He would drop his breakout hit. He would really start building his career. He was even an XXL freshman. But where things would kind of get dark for Jack Harlow would be 2021. Around May of 2021, this man, Jack Harlow, you know, he got involved in the shooting. But it wasn't necessarily him. It was his DJ. XXL wrote, Jack Harlow was present during a fatal shooting at a nightclub in his hometown. The incident occurred on Sunday morning at Vibes Restaurant and Ultra Lounge. In the clip, you can see Jack Harlow near the stage hanging out.
So I don't like going out, bro.
Disturbance starts in the crowd, which appears to lead to a fight not too far from where Jack Harlow was at. Seconds later, shots heard, Jack seen for a split second running away. According to the Louisville Police Department, a woman was found fatally wounded during the shooting and died on the scene. The man was also struck and transported to a hospital nearby with 9 life-threatening injuries. Neither victim has been identified. And at that time, that was all that people knew. So Jack had to show people got to fighting in the crowd. Situation went left. Jack, even though he wasn't hurt, his DJ is the one that got accused of doing this. And it was looking real bad for the DJ. The DJ ended up getting locked up on these charges. And they held him on a bond, a $500,000 bond. But at the same time as this, more info would actually come out on the case. So there was a woman that died that night. And that woman's mom would basically come out saying that the DJ was already causing problems that night and that he should have been left. This is what the mom said. They knew there had been an altercation prior to this with the same DJ, so he was not supposed to be allowed back in the club. I feel like he should have been removed, or they should have taken my daughter and told her to go home. And so with all this talk going around Jack Harlow's name, I mean, they trying to put a body on somebody he with. They try to put a body on this DJ. Of course, he was gonna come out and say something, and this is what he would say. My heart breaks for this woman, her children, and everybody else touched by this tragic death. My heart breaks for my city, a place that's been through too much pain already. I've been in touch with her family during this painful time, and I'm grateful for them of keeping these lines of communication open. Nothing can reverse what happened. Too many lives has been changed forever. My life will remain committed to making Louisville a better place.
for this.
Jack Harlow's DJ.
Yes,
was
bro.
Was he indicted
Why?
or what was
I think he was just charged with murder because this is the gist for people
Didn't
who
they
don't
say
know.
it was like self-defense?
Well,
or
hold
something?
on.
Here, this
We'll
is
get
the
to that.
gist. Is that so? Jack Harlow goes to a club. He's got a bunch of people with him.
Wait. Let's
in
start,
Louisville.
Could we start from the beginning?
Sure.
His DJ caught a previous body.
Really?
You didn't know that? Jack Harlow's DJ
Yo,
caught a
what?
previous body. At
Yo,
the strip
who's
club.
Jack Harlow's
He beat it
DJ,
in
bro?
Self-defense,
John
right?
Wick?
Now, it's the Kentucky Derby weekend. However long later, Kentucky Derby weekend. They're at a party. Jack Harlow's there. A friend of the guy who was murdered sees Jack Harlow's DJ in the club.
But it's a woman,
It's a
right?
woman.
Yeah.
She was with a bunch of guys, but apparently she was the only one that was
Her
like.
name was Kat, right? And she was
Kat.
very beloved in the
She was
scene
she
out
was
there,
tur-
from what I gather. Like a lot
she
of
was
people
turned up
really
out
had
there.
love for her. Right?
Yeah, no, a lot of people were very hurt about this. So she decided, hey Josh, let me hit that. She decided to be the only one that was going to turn up
It's
on
like a
this guy.
centimeter roach.
Yep. She hits him in the head with a bottle in the club.
Oh,
and he turns
shit.
around, fires a shot, and kills her in the club.
Insane.
I don't think. I
Oh,
don't know.
unfortunately, that is self-defense, bro. There's nothing you can say. If you hit me with a bottle on the head, bro, self-defense, bro. I'm shooting you. I'm gutting you down, bro. I won't lie to you, bro. I'm gutting you down, bro. Why are you hitting me on the head with... Huh? When's Annie? What
He
pop?
knew
That's your problem.
who hit him. He might have just like reacted.
I
but-
don't know how the gun laws are out there, but he could beat that.
So Jack was in all this controversy. He was in some bad situations, but what about the actual music? Because remember what I said. Jack Harlow came into the music with a lot of heavy hitters in 2020. He had a few songs, a few big songs. 2021 came around. He dropped even more songs. Remember that whole run that he had with Lil Nas X where they dropped that Industry Baby song? And so for 2 years, there was no Jack Harlow.
Some other
album.
sus
Fans
song,
was
bro.
hungry. You gotta think about the run he been on. He just dropped all of these big songs. Then 2022 would start, he would drop more big songs, another hit song. He would drop a hit song as his lead single for his next project, Come Home, the Kids Miss You. Now this was supposed to be his big moment. All these songs and everything he was doing was leading up to this moment, this project, this album that was really gonna make or break the man's career. And it would come out to mixed reviews.
So it broke the career.
Them, all three of them straight bangers. All three of them. For the most part, he got a little repetitive on some of the songs. Out of 10, I give this like a 6. I give it a 6, man. Because he talked about a lot of the same shit in different songs. He had a lot of beat switches. I don't know how I felt about that. But for sure, he definitely got at least 6 hits. He got at least 6 hits on here. Real talk. Out of 15, 6 hits. I'll tell you.
Out of 15, 6 hits.
But this album come out and not only be this big moment for Jack Harlow, but it almost started up a part 2 with Drake and Pusha T. On this project, there was a Drake feature. And this Drake feature, he would send some shots at Pusha T. And the internet was looking around, expecting a response from Pusha. But he would come out basically saying, nah, I'm not even going to entertain that. This is what A.J. Sale wrote. Pusha T seems to be unbothered by the apparent diss aimed at him by Drake on the Jack Harlow song.
What Drake say?
With the Breakfast Club, Pusha T was asked if he was preparing to drop another response in his ongoing feud with Drake after this Jack Harlow song came out online. In answering the question from the Breakfast Club host, Pusha T said that he gonna let Drake slide on this. Pusha T basically would do this interview and say like, I feel like this is an old feature. I don't think this was recent, and even if it was, what done happened already happened. He was basically on some ego shit. He was like, I put that man down already. If I got to, I'll do it again.
Bro, why is this guy's clips like skipping over each other? Like, what the hell's going on? If I got to, like, bro, what's going on, dog? Bro, this guy edits every sentence.
But the aftermath of this album, this big moment for Jack Harlow was there, because this was really the biggest moment in his career. And for the biggest moment in his career to be a disappointment to most people, that's not a good look, especially when you think about the state his career was in at the time. Then on top of everything else, this man Jack Harlow was just getting into it with random companies and random people. People
He looks
just
crazy
targeting him.
this
He
photo.
got into it with Peter
What the
because they
hell?
was saying that he was mistreating animals in the music video.
You know, Jack took some criticism for that video with Drake where they're at Churchill Downs.
Yo, what a
because,
shot of drama.
Racing is a bad place for horses, you know? And a lot of people said he got to donate his
What an
proceeds
angle.
to some like animal charities. Do you feel that's fair?
Well, I will say no horses were harmed in the making of the video, for
Right.
sure. So,
Right.
Yeah, I think they might have to talk to the Kentucky Derby about that.
Is that a reach?
We were just on location. Yeah, no horses were harmed in the making of any Jack Harlow Generation Now production.
so it's unfair.
What the hell?
Absolutely. Yeah, Kentucky Derby's been going on for a long time. Don't come after us.
Not only
Wait, what? That's so crazy. Like, they're blaming Jack for the Kentucky Derby? Like, what? Like, Jack's abusing animals? What? That's not Jack's fault. Bro, whatever, man.
we see Jack Harlow get into it with them, him and Adam 22 kind of exchange words.
Yo, that's wild.
So Jack Harlow just put out a new track, and basically he's dissing podcasters. Says that podcasters shouldn't be giving rappers advice. What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't know. Does Jack Harlow think that he needs more yes men? Does he need more people just sort of telling him that everything he does is dope? I think that the podcasters play an important role in the hip hop ecosystem, because without people like me or academics or Vlad or Joe Budden or whoever, then who's going to be out here letting people know what they think of their stuff? Like, I mean, the role of the critic is just as valid as the role of the creator.
Okay.
You know, for me, a lot of times when a new album comes out, I'm listening to that album, really just anticipating reading John Caramonica's review of it in the New York Times, or listening to, you know, Anthony Fantano talk about it on YouTube or something like that. So I don't know, like, how hyper specific Jack Harlow was being there, because, you know, I interviewed him before. I'm sure he understands that the role of podcasters is important, and had any like strong Jack Harlow takes, but
he just said that podcasters aren't qualified to speak on it.
I mean, a lot of podcasters are. Like myself, I'm not in the music business. I was never an artist, but you know, speaking of Joe Budden, he had this whole long rap career. I think that he's speaking from a place of actual experience. But even for me, I mean, people have been saying this to me my whole life. I mean, you're not black, you don't rap. How are you gonna have opinions about rap music? Whereas I'm pretty sure that like the greatest NBA writer of our time is probably somebody that can't dunk, right? Like, you're out here, you're the greatest TMZ paparazzi of all time, but you don't have experience being a mega celebrity, right? Like, it doesn't change the fact that you're good at your job, right?
Thank you. Yeah. Okay.
Yo, she was happy about that.
This man Jack Harlow would put out another body of work in 2023. After the reception he got from his last project, he would release something called Jackman, a follow-up to
I
his
like this
last
album.
It was an EP. And
I like
just
this.
like the previous project, this came with some interesting reviews.
If you've heard Jack's early tapes, you know this guy has been studying Drake's style and vibe for a long time. But despite all that effort, I wouldn't say he's as great at pulling off something in this vein. Plus, that one line kind of caught me by surprise about not wanting to make these lil raps and make anthems instead. Yeah, this thing is a very scant project I don't really know what to make of, honestly. It kind of has the vibe of a very thrown together mixtape in a way. But simultaneously, while there are some major missteps on this thing, there aren't as many as there have been on Jack's two previous projects. So overall, on average, it's kind of better and more consistent, possibly the best project he's come out with thus far. However, the reason I think that is because he just doesn't really take a whole lot of shots on this project, depriving himself of opportunities to miss as a defense, which does not a great album.
That's a crazy take.
I'm feeling a light 5 on this record.
That's a crazy take.
Welcome to Funding Traders.
Wow.
The only prop firm where traders can get funded with up to $500,000.
Ben said he played it safe.
And so, since this last project, it's been a big lack of music from Jack Harlow. He really took a step back from music in 2023 and kind of was just doing his own thing. He was on social media a lot. You know, he was in a couple movies, but he stepped away from music. 2023, throughout 2024, there was no music. Fans were starving. And I mean, well, still starving to this day, because Jack Harlow fans ain't got no projects since 2023. But this lack of music also caused a lot of talk around his name, a lot of fall off allegations. And I mean, think about it. This man left music off a project that wasn't too highly received. Then would turn around, 2023, November, he would come out and drop a hit song, Loving On Me. And this song did good. It was loved by a lot of people, 200 million views on YouTube. But he didn't follow that up. He let this song come and go. I feel like the perfect time for Jack Harlow to drop another tape would have been early 2024, but he didn't. And he wouldn't really do features either. So think about it. He didn't follow up his last project. He didn't do no features. He wasn't really collabing anybody. It was a lack of singles, a lack of everything. And this had a big effect on his name and the feeling around his name. And he knew that because at the end of last year, he would come out dropping songs, speaking on his break and speaking on his time away from music. He would talk about how he lost a lot of money. He put out some good records. He put out some bad records. He said he lost a couple of millions because he was out the way.
What? He lost a couple millions because why? He just skipped past that. Why did he lose a couple millions? What the hell? You just don't just skip past that.
2025 will come around, and I mean, we 6 months in, we still ain't got a project from him, but we have gotten a single. Jack Harlow and Doja Cat will release a song together, and you would think these two would come out with a smash hit. I mean, it's Jack Harlow.
Oh, Gandhi, I forgot about this song.
This song came out a few months ago, and it came and went. I'm not saying it's ass. I'm not saying it flopped.
It's not that
it
good.
Came out and peaked at number 57, and then it dropped after that. It ain't really stick around. A lot of people not even talking about this song to this day, and it performed decent, but I don't think this was enough to really bring his career back. And I'm not saying Jack Harlow was terrible, but he's definitely lost a huge part of his audience, especially with how long he stepped away from the music and the position that his career was in. Jack Harlow wasn't really in the position to step away from music for a couple years. He one of them artists that should have kept feet in the streets. He should have kept dropping more projects and putting out more singles, but he didn't. He took this break, and I think he might fuck around and fall into that Polo G trap. If you remember, Polo G was one of the hottest artists in rap for a long time. I mean, he had #1 song. He had albums selling 150K first week. Then he decided to step away from music. He would step away from music, and his whole career would just die. He went from selling 140K one project to his very next project selling 20K first week, all because he wanted to take this break. And he came off a hit song. He had so much good music at that time.
24K is not even that bad today. That's what's crazy. Music is getting so bad, at least in terms of buying music, consuming music. Bro, 24K is not bad nowadays, bro. Hey.
Harlow might fall into that same trap. He was dropping this good music, but then he stopped feeding the fans and he took a break. I don't know. What are y'all thoughts on Jack Harlow? Do you think he still has a comeback on the table, or has his time?
Okay, let's leave it there. Yeah, man, Jack Harlow could still come back. I don't think it's completely over for Jack Harlow. I think he's still got some hits in him, for sure. I just think he needs to be more consistent. He needs to be more present in the game. He needs to be doing the social media antics he used to do. Like, he was very good with his social media, like, work, or what do you call it? Social media interaction or whatever, engagement and all those things. He knew what he was doing with that. Now he seems too quiet. He seems too removed and reserved. He doesn't seem like he's hungry. Maybe he's satisfied with where he is. I don't think so, though, because that album, I don't think, did what he wanted it to do. And then coming back with the second album, I also feel like, it also never really shook the mountains, So, yeah, man, it's tricky for Jack Harlow, bro. But what can you say? I think, bro, these days, the amount of money that's put into an artist like Jack Harlow, I still think he has a chance at coming back. But the Doja Cat single Miss is not good, because that single didn't really do much, unfortunately. And that's Doja Cat and him on the same track, so that's a bit crazy. But I guess we'll see what's next for Jack Harlow. Anyway, it's been your boy. Like, comment, and subscribe. Dway's on Blaze. Yes, sir. Let's go.